Today I would like to invite you to listen to the Dhammapada of the Buddha Shakyamuni. 165 verses from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel Thien Thai in the USA. By oneself, indeed, is evil done. By oneself is one defiled. By oneself is evil left undone. By oneself, indeed, is one purified. Purity and impurity depend on oneself. No one purifies another. During the lifetime of the Buddha, there was a monk who constantly blamed others whenever suffering appeared in his life. If meditation felt difficult, he blamed noise and distraction. If anger arose, he blamed the behavior of other people. If sadness appeared, he blamed circumstances and fate. Though he listened to the Dharma, every day his heart remained restless because he avoided looking deeply into himself. One day, the Buddha compassionately called the monk near and gently explained that liberation begins when a person accepts responsibility for the condition of the mind. The Buddha taught that no teacher, no friend, and no outside force can purify the heart if a person continues nourishing greed, hatred, and delusion within. Another story tells of a wealthy man who wished to become peaceful without changing his actions. He donated money publicly so others would praise him, yet secretly continued lying, cheating, and speaking cruelly. He believed external rituals and appearance alone could cleanse his suffering. But despite wealth and recognition, his mind remained heavy and fearful. After hearing the Buddha teach this verse, he suddenly realized that true purity cannot be purchased or displayed outwardly. Purity grows from honest transformation within the heart itself. From that day, he began practicing truthful speech, generosity, without pride, and mindfulness in daily life. Gradually, his mind became lighter and more peaceful. Dear friends, this verse from the Dhammapada contains deep wisdom about personal responsibility and inner transformation. The Buddha teaches that suffering and peace both arise from causes created within the mind and actions of each individual. Harmful thoughts create suffering. Compassionate thoughts create peace. No one can walk the spiritual path for another person. Noble teachers may guide the way, and compassionate friends may offer encouragement, yet each human being must cultivate mindfulness, wisdom, and ethical living personally. Just as no one can eat food to satisfy another person's hunger, no one can purify another person's consciousness. Therefore, the Buddha compassionately encourages every person to observe the mind honestly and cultivate wholesome qualities through sincere practice. Dear friends, many people spend years searching outside themselves for the source of happiness and peace. Some believe peace will appear after gaining wealth, status, beauty, or praise. Some believe another person will rescue them from suffering completely. Yet the Buddha teaches that lasting peace cannot be found only through external conditions because the roots of suffering exist within the untrained mind itself. A person filled with greed remains dissatisfied even while surrounded by abundance. A person filled with anger remains restless even while living in comfort. A person controlled by jealousy cannot enjoy blessings already present in life. Therefore, the Buddha directs attention inward. He teaches that transformation begins within one's own heart and mind. This understanding is not meant to create blame or guilt. It is meant to awaken strength and responsibility. If suffering depended entirely upon outside conditions, liberation would be impossible because human beings cannot fully control the world. But because suffering is deeply connected to the condition of the mind, transformation becomes possible through awareness and practice. The Buddha often compared the mind to a garden. Within every human heart, there exist seeds of compassion, patience, wisdom, kindness, generosity, greed, hatred, and delusion. Whatever seeds are watered regularly become stronger. If anger is nourished daily through resentment and harsh thinking, anger grows powerful. If compassion is nourished through mindfulness and kindness, compassion becomes stronger. Dear friends, this is why spiritual practice requires continuous attention. Human beings cannot plant poisonous seeds while expecting peaceful fruit. Every thought, every word, and every action creates conditions shaping future experience. This is the law of karma taught by the Buddha. Karma is not punishment from an outside force. Karma is simply the natural relationship between causes and results. A person speaking with kindness creates harmony. A person speaking with cruelty creates conflict. A person practicing honesty strengthens trust. A person practicing deception creates fear and confusion. Therefore, purification begins through awareness of daily actions. During the lifetime of the Buddha, there was also a young woman deeply consumed by resentment toward a relative who had treated her unfairly many years earlier. Though time passed, her anger continued burning silently within the heart. She smiled outwardly, yet inwardly bitterness poisoned her peace every day. One evening, she listened to the Buddha teaching about forgiveness and inner purification. The Buddha explained that holding hatred resembles carrying burning coals with the intention of throwing them at another person. Before the coals ever reach someone else, the hand carrying them is already burned. Hearing these words, the woman began weeping because she realized her suffering had continued not only because of another person's actions, but because she herself continued feeding resentment daily. Slowly, she began practicing forgiveness and mindfulness. Over time, her heart became softer and freer. Dear friends, this story teaches that purification cannot happen while the mind continues clinging tightly to anger and pain. Letting go becomes an act of compassion toward oneself. The Buddha also taught that true purification is not merely external appearance or ritual behavior. Some people carefully maintain religious image while inwardly remaining full of pride, jealousy, greed, or dishonesty. Others speak beautifully about spirituality while failing to practice compassion in ordinary life. The Buddha emphasized sincerity because liberation depends upon genuine transformation of consciousness, not outward performance. A person may wear simple robes, yet still possess a mind filled with craving and ego. Another person living ordinary family life may cultivate deep mindfulness, compassion, and humility. Therefore, the Buddha encouraged people not to judge solely by appearances, but to examine the quality of the heart. Dear friends, true purity reveals itself naturally through peaceful actions, gentle speech, kindness, patience, and honesty. One of the most important teachings within this verse is the understanding that each person possesses the ability to transform. Sometimes people feel hopeless because of past mistakes and suffering. They believe they are permanently damaged by anger, addiction, fear, or harmful actions. Yet the Buddha never taught hopelessness. He taught awakening. A muddy pond may appear dark, yet when stillness comes, the water gradually becomes clear again. In the same way, the human mind can become purified through mindfulness, wisdom, ethical living, and compassion. No one is permanently trapped in ignorance. Even a person who has wandered in darkness for many years can begin walking toward light once awareness arises. Dear friends, the Dharma is filled with hope because it recognizes the potential for awakening within every human heart. The Buddha emphasized mindfulness because mindfulness allows human beings to observe themselves honestly. Without mindfulness, people live automatically controlled by habit, impulse, and emotion. Anger arises and immediately becomes harsh speech. Craving arises and immediately becomes attachment. Fear arises and immediately becomes anxiety. Meditation creates space between awareness and reaction. Through silent observation, people begin recognizing the roots of suffering within the mind. They notice how attachment creates fear. They notice how pride creates separation. They notice how endless desire creates dissatisfaction. This understanding becomes the beginning of purification. Dear friends, meditation is not escape from life. Meditation is the courage to see life clearly. Many people hope someone else will solve their suffering completely. They depend excessively upon teachers, relationships, or external comfort while neglecting personal responsibility. The Buddha compassionately reminded people that even enlightened teachers can only point toward the path. Each individual must walk the path personally. Imagine a doctor giving medicine to a patient. If the patient refuses to take the medicine, healing cannot occur. In the same way, Dharma teachings bring benefit only when practiced sincerely. Reading scriptures alone cannot remove anger. Listening to teachings alone cannot dissolve greed. Transformation appears through direct application in daily life. Speaking kindly during conflict becomes practice. Choosing honesty during temptation becomes practice. Returning to mindful breathing during anxiety becomes practice. Dear friends, the modern world constantly encourages distraction. Human beings spend endless hours chasing entertainment, stimulation, and external validation while rarely sitting quietly with themselves. Because of this, many people become disconnected from the condition of their own minds. The Buddha's teachings invite people back toward awareness. Sitting quietly for even a few moments each day allows the mind to settle and become clearer. Gradually, people begin noticing harmful habits previously ignored. This awareness is precious because healing begins only when suffering is recognized honestly. A person unaware of illness cannot seek proper treatment. In the same way, a person unaware of greed, pride, or resentment cannot begin transformation. The Buddha also taught that ethical living supports purification deeply. Actions leave imprints upon consciousness. A person regularly lying, harming, or deceiving others naturally experiences inner disturbance because the mind becomes divided and fearful. But a person practicing kindness, truthfulness, and compassion develops greater inner harmony. Ethical living is not merely obedience to rules. It is protection for the heart. When actions align with wisdom, peace becomes easier to cultivate. Dear friends, every compassionate action strengthens wholesome qualities within consciousness. Even small acts of kindness possess great power. Offering patient listening, helping someone in difficulty, speaking gently during tension, or caring for living beings all nourish purity within the heart. During the Buddha's lifetime, there was a monk who became discouraged because negative thoughts continued appearing despite years of practice. He told the Buddha that perhaps purification was impossible for him. The Buddha compassionately asked whether a room dark for many years becomes bright immediately after lighting one small candle. The monk replied that even a small flame begins removing darkness instantly, though complete brightness may take time. The Buddha explained that spiritual practice works similarly. Every moment of mindfulness weakens ignorance slightly. Every act of compassion weakens selfishness slightly. Transformation unfolds gradually through continuous wholesome effort. Hearing this teaching, the monk regained confidence and continued practicing patiently. Dear friends, another profound lesson within this verse concerns self-honesty. Many people avoid looking deeply at themselves because truth feels uncomfortable. The ego prefers blaming others and protecting familiar habits. Yet, genuine purification requires courage to recognize one's own anger, pride, fear, attachment, and dishonesty without denial. This honesty should not create self-hatred. Buddhism never teaches harsh condemnation of oneself. Instead, mindfulness observes the mind compassionately and clearly. Imagine cleaning a dusty mirror. Dust must first be recognized before the mirror can reflect clearly again. In the same way, awareness reveals the impurities obscuring wisdom, so healing can occur. The Buddha also emphasized compassion toward oneself during spiritual practice. Some practitioners become harsh and impatient with themselves when imperfections appear. Yet inner transformation grows more steadily through gentleness and patience. A gardener does not pull plants violently to make them grow faster. Instead, the gardener provides water, sunlight, and care consistently. In the same way, the mind requires patient cultivation. Dear friends, spiritual growth takes time because habits formed over many years cannot disappear instantly. Therefore, the Buddha encouraged perseverance without discouragement. Another important truth within this teaching is that purity and impurity are experienced directly within the mind. A person may successfully deceive society, yet cannot completely escape inner consequences. Hatred disturbs the heart, carrying hatred. Greed disturbs the heart, carrying greed. Dishonesty disturbs the conscience of the dishonest person. Likewise, compassion brings immediate peace to the compassionate heart. Generosity creates joy within the generous person. Loving kindness softens the mind, practicing loving kindness. Therefore, Buddhism teaches that heaven and suffering begin within consciousness itself long before external results fully appear. Dear friends, perhaps some people listening today feel burdened by past mistakes, loneliness, fear, or attachment. Please remember that the Buddha's path always begins in the present moment. No matter how much suffering existed yesterday, awareness can begin now. One mindful breath can begin changing the direction of life. One sincere act of forgiveness can begin healing old wounds. One moment of honesty can begin purification. The Dharma does not ask people to become perfect immediately. It simply invites continuous awakening through mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. The Buddha's teachings continue shining across thousands of years because they reveal timeless truth about the human heart. Each person possesses responsibility for the condition of consciousness. Harmful actions create suffering. Wholesome actions create peace. Noble teachers may guide and inspire, yet no one can purify another completely. Therefore, dear friends, let us practice sincerely with mindfulness and humility. Let us guard thoughts, words, and actions carefully. Let us nourish compassion instead of hatred, generosity instead of greed, and wisdom instead of ignorance. Then gradually the heart becomes clearer, lighter, and more peaceful. Dear friends, when we deeply contemplate this verse, we understand that liberation is both deeply personal and universally possible. Every human being possesses Buddha nature and the ability to awaken. The journey may sometimes feel difficult, yet every step of awareness carries meaning. Even during moments of failure, the path remains open. Therefore, let us continue walking gently with patience, courage, and compassion. Let us become caretakers of our own minds and protectors of peace within the world around us. Thank you for watching my video. Namo Amitabha. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.